All right, it is time for me to do a chess game review here. Um, and let me just adjust a little something here. So we can just bump that up a little bit. All right, excuse me. So this, like I said the other day on Facebook, this was like the game that I just absolutely, I mean, wow, I was so happy with how this game turned out. This was probably the most satisfying victory for me. But first, we have to go back for some context. So this is a guy I played named Medium Bill 88. As you can see, he's very close to 1,000. I'm getting there. It's a tough road, but I'm trying to get there. So anyways, I just played a level 1,000. My first time playing a level 1,000, he just destroyed me. So I obviously got a lot more practicing to do before I'm able to get there. But anyways, so in this game here, this is the first game I played against Medium Bill. And I open up with King's Pawn opening. It's just my favorite opening. He goes with the Sicilian defense. King's Pawn opening, the idea is to grab control of the center immediately. Sicilian is kind of doing it in the opposite, or not in the opposite, but he's kind of going off on the flank. He's trying to flank White's center control, starting with c5. That's the Sicilian defense. So many variations of the Sicilian. I have not looked through all of them, but there's a ton of them. I mean, just so much. But I go with my typical opening against the Sicilian is to go knight f3 to prepare for this. I typically don't like to go through a lot of theory, close positions, keep the position fairly open and stuff like that. Theory just can be a bit of a mess for us early guys. I find that when I keep the position open, I win better. But so I go for that, and he makes this move here, this a6. I got to look into this. This is a book move. But when I first looked at it, I was like, what the heck is that? Like, what is that even doing? Okay, but I still got to look into it, what the whole idea behind that is. But I just continue on with my thing. Takes. I figured what's going to happen here is I'm going to take back. He's going to attack me right here, and I'm just going to go back here. It's a little bit of back, getting behind in tempo a little bit, but this is a more familiar kind of game for me. It's turning out. I can go into the Italian game sort of if I want to. I decided to develop a knight. Probably wasn't the best move. The game says the best move I think is this, because I think he's preparing for this, and then we can probably go knight out right here, and and then we can deal with the bishop afterwards with like h3. So I didn't do that. I instead just went, hey, look, I could get a nice outpost right here. He develops his knight, immediately challenging that. Now, I could, eventually exchange these, which is what I think he does. Yeah. Anyways, so I don't want to get too far into theory, but I decided, okay, finally we'll deal with this pin. I should have dealt with it like this. This is the better idea to deal with this pin. It really just kind of, if he takes, we take back, and we got just more center control here. We're doing pretty good. And so it's probably better for White to retreat that. And obviously he wouldn't want to completely retreat it, but this loses tempo for White. We can eventually start pushing up and making that knight there very nervous. But that was the better way to deal with it. This is not, and it's not a horrible way, but it's not the best way to deal with it, and I missed that. So, and I also missed the fact that I had a hanging pawn. So, whoops. That became a problem for me early on, and I was like, man, what do I do at this point? The game still wants me to go through with this, I think that's what it wants me to do. Yeah, it wants me to go through with this, defend this knight, essentially, and there we go. So but I figured, I gotta go after this thing, so that's what I do. And what I do is I go knight to d2 instead. I figured I'll hit the knight, and then also hit the hanging bishop at the same time. This actually doesn't work because there was this, even though this was also a strange option the game thought. And the reason why is because there's this for me, and this becomes a big problem for Black, because you can't really defend this, because I'm still going to do this, and if you do this, you still lose both pieces, and that does nothing for you. So that's not a way to handle it. You also can't go queen h4, because I can just attack this, and if you try to defend it this way like this, well, then I'm just gonna, it's the same problem again. So And then, of course, if you go, obviously, if you go here, there's also potentially this right here. Well, then I can go for that queen trade and still come out on top in this situation. That would have been a better idea for me to do, and I missed that completely. When I saw that in the game reviews, I was like, gosh, I can't believe I missed that, man. I'm just so mad at myself. I was pretty upset with myself. I knew my knight was going to fall. So we were going to end up down one material by 1 point. He takes the knight there. That's actually not a bad idea. You know, it wasn't the best move, but it was a good idea. I figured he was going to retreat the bishop out that way. I think he was surprised that my queen was still guarding the knight. I think he genuinely was a little bit surprised by that, because he kind of paused for a moment. Now I can potentially go, you know, c4, threaten mate in one move right there. He's going to continue to develop. I'm going to continue to develop. I'm thinking about castling queenside. And here I got a choice. I can castle queenside, I can castle kingside. The game says to castle queenside. And actually, man, I look back and I'm like, yeah, that was such a better option. But I went kingside. And so, yeah, I went kingside because I'm just trying to think about, well, it seems like this has got a little bit more going on here. Maybe it's not a good idea to castle kingside. This has got less going on, but yeah. Anyways, so I figured let's target this weak pawn because he's about to castle. But he's gonna beat me to the punch essentially because, you know, he's gonna castle. Now I can still go here. There's nothing terribly wrong with this idea, I don't think. But you know, I'm not gonna be getting a mate because I know he's gonna see this. This guy's too smart not to see that if I go here, you know, doing something like this, just, you know, loses the game instantly. So I know he's gonna see that. But I went here, and the idea was to eventually go here. Again, if I was going to do that, why not just go there? I, you know, get it. But that's what I do. And he does this. I think he does this for two reasons. One, just make sure no funny business can come at g7. Not that it was anyway, because, I mean, you got pawns here, the knight here guarding that. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting through that. So I don't exactly remember the idea behind this. I really don't. But this allows him to kick my queen. I figured that was going to happen. This move is not a good move for black because it kind of makes this bishop very passive, not doing a whole lot. And it allows for ultimately, after that, it allows for this. All right, so I think what I wanted to do eventually was get this bishop here and just really pressure the pawn on d6, and not to mention the queen. I think that was kind of the idea. But I took here first, mainly to even out the game, material-wise. He's still got better positioning over me because I just got a lot of undevelopment going on here with these pawns. A rook that's very inactive right here. But he can't take back because, obviously, that pawn is pinned. So he sees that, and he realizes there's a bit of a hole right there in his defense. And I decide to, he decides to move out of the way so he can, you know, take that. I decides to... interesting. I wonder why. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Never mind. I found this move right here. It was a check. You know, it might buy me some time, but, you know, I didn't really have any plans after this. Now, once he did the knight right here, I thought he was just going to move his king off to the side. I didn't think he was going to allow his knight to be pinned and basically not be allowed to be used in the game. I figured he was going to sidestep the check. But after this move, I'm thinking to myself, man, is there some kind of tactic that I can work here? Best move, by the way, is queen to b3, adding pressure here with the rook. Very, very bad news for black. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. I'm just looking at all the options I got here. I went rook to e1. The reason why I went rook to e1 is because I was assuming he's going to come over and try to attack my bishop. Now this is a blunder. The reason why this is a blunder because you take here, you're forced to take back, and you lose a whole rook. That's very, very bad news. Now if this bishop to f8 is forced, and then there's now queen to b3, hitting this rook, pinning it. Well, this rook is attacking it. and also you're defending the weak c2 pawn with your queen, which does not allow the attack on the dark square bishop on d2. Now this move right here is forced by queen to c5 check. This allows the queen to get in here, and you can go for that queen trade, but then there's h6, and you're still got a big old problem right here. And that's a big issue for black. I mean, this is kind of forced right here, and the game goes on from there. So that was kind of what would have happened right there, and I blundered completely because now this is a thing. Check and fork on the bishop. That's a big. At this point in the game, you really don't want to be blundering pieces, and he missed it. And fortunately, I also missed it too, and then he found it, and I was like, oh, I can't believe I did that. It's just what a dummy. Well, I figured, well, let's just see if we can, stack the rooks here. We're completely losing now. Again, at this late stage in the game, you really cannot afford to be just blundering pieces because it's a make or break in the game. So now he attacks my rook for some reason. I don't know why. I wasn't going to get him anything. Okay, whatever. Now right here, he takes back, and this is actually where I resigned. Now this was actually a blunder because you take, now I take the knight, and that evens out the game right there. And I'm back into the game. Now it's a matter of, an end game with two rooks. Black has a rook, white has a rook, and we have, let's see, I have 5 pawns, he has 5, it's just a completely even game. I missed that, and I just went, instead I just thought, I just don't see how I'm going to win now, so I'm just going to give up, And so I gave up, and I resigned. But I was like, I can beat this guy. I know I can beat this guy. He made several really rookie mistakes. Like, I know I can beat him. So I challenged him again. Now this time, unlike last time I played as white, this time I had to play as black. And so it's a bit of an uphill battle. This guy is definitely a challenge for me. So he starts with the queen's pawn opening. And I thought, hey, is he going for the London system? Interesting, because I've played the London system against the London system 2 other times, and both times I beat the guy. So I was like, I might have a chance here. So I start with the queen's pawn opening. All right, so let's ask ourselves the question, what is the London system? Well, it begins with d4. It can go to f4, bishop f4 if you want to. It doesn't necessarily have to. But what is the London system? So let's say I go right here. White goes here, 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 boom, 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 boom. This is all we're just showing you. And then, white can castle here if he wants to. He doesn't necessarily have to, but he can castle here if he wants to. This is basically the London system. You got this bishop out here, this pawn right here, and you also have this pawn chain just kind of right here. And then you got this bishop, eyeballing a lot of this stuff here, potential opportunities. Black's not completely lost here, but he's, it's not the best for him because the whole idea behind the London system is white is kind of giving up. He's surrendering the initiative in order to build this pyramid system, this fortress, and it's not totally easy for black to solve. It can become a real problem, and it's particularly dangerous because of all the dark squares which black controls, and so. There's and his king is solidly just in an absolute fortress. So that's basically what the London system is. So I've played it a couple times against the bots, and when I started playing it online, I knew that there was a lot of stuff going on YouTube about, hey, how to get to 1200 elo or something like that, just playing the London system, and so that was becoming a trend on the internet. So I realized, if I'm going to be playing, against a lot of these beginner guys, a lot of them are going to be using the London system. I should probably know how to beat this thing. So that's what I did. I went online how to beat it. Now, what I basically learned is what I'm going to show you here. The idea is, remember, the idea behind the London system is to get this pyramid right here, and just this solid structure going on right here. You can bring the knight out here, by the way, and put more pressure up there and stuff like that. That's the idea behind the London system. So if you're black, what you want to do, what I've learned, you don't want to allow white to set that position up. And so what I begin with is an immediate attack. This is how I play every single London system so far anyway. It's the Steinitz counter gambit. The idea here is I'm giving up a pawn here deliberately. If white takes, I can develop the knight. And yeah, we're immediately down material, but we're going to win the piece back with first beginning with knight to c6. Defending this, preparing for this. So if he continues on with his system here, we're just going to go ahead and hit that bishop. And after we hit that bishop, force the bishop back, we win back our pawn, and you know, the game is solidly even right now. That's kind of the idea that we want to go for. Now, this isn't the only way white has to respond. White can ignore this. So, for instance, in this game here, playing in this game, he goes for the London system. Again, the same setup. Now, this time instead, he decides to just continue with his setup. What does black do? Well, as black, again, the idea is to not allow white to set up his London system. So I'm actually going to take this. When he takes back, I'm going to immediately attack this once more. And he continues to develop. Now, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to sacrifice a knight for that. That's not going to be an equal trade of material. Wouldn't be good for me. But I am applying pressure immediately. And now I make this move. The game's like, whatever. But I'm not sure about that move. The idea behind this move was I'm eventually going to strike right out of the center. I delay that, by the way, after he makes this bishop move because I didn't want to go here, and then if you have right here, I think, and then check like this. If I took right here, whoops. I lose a rook. I'm down right here. The game still says I'm winning. But see, the thing here is that you got to really know some theory as black to, I think, to really get out of this. I mean, it starts with this, obviously, and, so that's one of the big problems there for White's move right there. But I didn't like that idea. I didn't like that idea happening, so what I did instead was I went here first, so that prevents queen here, that prevents the bishop from taking here, and then after this move right here, this knight here is providing obviously some center pressure here on e5, which is going to be where I'm going to launch my attack. I have to prevent that knight from being able to do that, so what I do is I go for bishop g4 and pin the knight to the queen. Now that the knight's disabled, I can launch my attack. If he goes ahead and attacks this right here, we just take that, and then we launch our attack right in the center. And look at this, his London system. I've not allowed him to set up his London, and now I got a lot of options. If he retreats here, I'm going to push up right here. He takes right there. He takes like that. There's options right there. But actually, what was the better option here? I think the better option was so it takes right there. And we could do that. That's an option. That was a better one. I was just moving really fast there, a little bit faster than my brain can catch up. But that was one thing I could do there. So I do this, and he just goes ahead and castles, which was a bad idea. Now we're going to strike at the center. He takes, we take back. Bishop can't take back. This was a bad idea because, and the game didn't like this, but he makes an equally bad idea because once he made that move, of course, we're taking there. And there you go. So his London system collapsed, completely collapsed. And at this, it's just game over from this point on. Another attempt here, what this player did here with the London system. Once again, we do the same thing. Now he goes and defends it with the knight. And I thought, I was like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Bring out our knight. He attacks this. We take back. And look at that. No London system. He realizes this at this point. Well, I can't set up my London system anymore. I've just thrown it all away. And I look at this and I go, man, I got that's just sweet diagonal for my bishop here. Set up my bishop on a diagonal. And then at this point in the game, it's white is, he doesn't know what to do anymore. That's the whole idea behind this London system for these beginner players, is to set up this London. It's just sort of like a, again, if we go back here to Mr. Medium Bill, no, not this one. If we go back here, in fact, I don't really need that anymore, to be honest. If we go back here, the idea for white is just, you're just, whoops. You're just kind of chilling, just, I'm just doing this stuff. Of course, after you do all this, now you got to think about, okay, now I got. But the setting up the London system, it's very passive. It's just something you can do pretty much no matter what black does, unless black is immediately attacking your structure. And for a lot of these guys, that's one of the downfalls. I'm not trying to look. The London system, I think, is a really cool idea. It's got a lot of theory to it. It's really, really cool. But you got to know that stuff. You know, if you're going to play the London system, you really need to know. And I don't know it. I'm not saying I do, but you need to really know a lot of its theories, its intentions, and everything like that. And so there you go. All right. So going back to Mr. Medium Bill, we go for the attack, I guess I didn't really explain too much what happened here with this game, but you see, sorry, but we go back here to Mireu, Mireu, I guess, Mireu, we'll call him Mireu, and looks like he's from Germany, but we go here and he doesn't know what to do now. Look at how this is. He's just doing some weird stuff here. And I do, go here. Best is in order to lure out this pawn, and so I can, take that rook in the corner there, and then we draw back, and he's really just he's panicking now. He doesn't know what to do because the whole idea behind the London system, I was supposed to just get this thing set up and just let black blunder his way into my setup, and then beat him. And again, it's to beat him in a kind of a war of attrition kind of thing. That's the idea behind it. And he panics and goes here. And, he looks at, because the bishop's got nothing protecting. He's like, oh, yeah, I can go after the bishop. Didn't realize. Yeah, and then he resigned right there. So, anyways, but in this, so now going back to Mr. Medium Bill, we do the same thing. This time Medium Bill took, but that's fine. It's okay. We're going to win it back. We just go knight to c6. He continues on what he's doing, and now we attack the bishop. Bishop goes back, and we win back our pawn. All right, so he attacks the pawn here. I'm going to kind of ignore that. Well, actually, you know what? So I pressed ahead. I attacked. I thought, let's keep the pressure on. And this pawn chain right here actually is really helpful for me throughout this game. He moves right here. It's not the best idea. The game wants me to go here. I don't want to go too far into the theory as to why. But we're going to go ahead and continue development. He goes here, and I looked at this and I go, here he goes again with these pins. I'm like, okay, well, I thought, well, we got to learn a lesson from last time and immediately deal with this with, attacking with the pawn in the corner. But this time it actually wasn't a good idea because now there was this. And I saw this and I was going, well, I'll just take back with the pawn, right? No, because now there's this. Ouch, fork, you lose a rook, and now you're really losing. So I realized that right before I made that move. And I went, wait a minute, that's not a good idea. So instead, I go queen to b6. I hit both the knight and the bishop, however, most specifically the bishop. Now, you're basically going to lose that bishop. The bishop's basically lost. If the bishop retreats somewhere like over here, then you just lose the knight. Game's even. If, for instance, you try to, nope, that's the wrong one. If we'll ignore that right now. Okay, so there's this option right here. If for instance you go b4 and you just attack this, we can just go for that exchange. He takes right there, we take right there. Now we're gonna hit this. Then queen's gonna have to come down here, and the game kind of just continues on from there. So that's also an option, but it's not a whole lot to do here. White just hopes for the best, goes for a check, discovered attack. He saves his knights, but he loses his bishop. So I don't think that went the way he wanted to. Now he develops his knight, and I'm thinking to myself, he's going to hit this pawn with 2 here. I was like, okay, well, let's save our pawn and attack at the same time. So I just went ahead and just attacked the knight. Game likes that idea. But he goes here instead. I thought he was I was for sure thought he was going to go here. It's not going to really work out too well for him because then we're just going to attack with the bishop. He goes there, and I figured, okay, he's probably going to want to go here at some point. And once he made this move, I started thinking about all these different lines. I thought about this, but then there was this, and we take back right here. There's that. And then if we try to just protect it with this in a desperate attempt, then that's going to be bigger problems. This is a silly, kind of a weird move, obviously, because now it forces this. but then, then there was going to be a rook right here, and that's not good for me. So that wouldn't be a good idea either. If he went here instead, like this, boom, and the game wants me to castle at that point in the game. Still winning, but for me in my head, I just didn't see good options here. But I started thinking, so again, let's just pause here. Let's just think about this. Let's go back to this move here. Let's say instead of playing this, let's say we just, we play this instead. This is actually a good move. The reason why this is a great move, it's an excellent move anyway, the game says. You force this, and there you go. This is actually a good move because pieces are, chess is about position. It's not just about the pieces and their values. There are times where even you give up your queen or a rook. I've given up a rook to a knight in order to win the game. It's a lot of, really, when you get down to it, it's about position. The position of a piece that determines how powerful the piece is. This knight right now is very powerful. The reason why he's very powerful is because knights do better at the center of the board. They're able to hit more squares. He's hitting all of this right here, and he's also guarded, by the way, which discourages trying to take him. But also, I can't kick him with a pawn. So this is what you would call an outpost. I have no pawn that can kick this knight. So he's like there. I mean, he gets to just stay there and just enjoy life, sitting there, just a nice little pony, just enjoying his time. In this game, now bishops are typically more powerful than knights. However, my dark square bishop, he's not very powerful here. He's very, very passive right here. So the game wants me to basically say, look, your bishop's not very powerful. His knight is very powerful. Trade that off, make that trade. So now that knight's gone. Your weak bishop is gone. You trade off queens. You go into an early end game, and you ask yourself the question: what would you rather have here in this situation on d4? What would you rather have? Would you rather have a knight sitting here with all of this, or would you rather have again? Would you rather have a measly little pawn that's just guarding this rather than all of this? I think this is the better option, but I didn't go for that, and I knew I should have. I was thinking about that. I was like, I should take that. I should trade that off. I bet you the game's going to want me to do that, and that is one of the top engine moves, and I didn't do it. I just hesitated, and I got myself a little bit of a bigger mess, but it's okay. We win in the end. So in this move, again, like I showed you, there's a bunch of options I was looking at here, but I just settled for, I just went, you know what, we're not under serious attack right now. I mean, there is potentially this, but, again, there's this. And it's still winning, but it's not easy either. There also is, by the way, this instead, which is there was a move here. I think it was this. Anyways, yeah. All right, so there's some of those options. But again, I thought, I'm not under a serious attack. I don't got to worry about that knight until I have to, right? So I went here. And I'm planning to go here in case I have to, because I'm just thinking about this, like if I go here instead and then he starts countering here like I showed you, I got a lot of problems going on there. If I start with this first and then go here and then he goes here, I can, it's a little bit easier for me. So I just go, let's just take it easy. We've lost a bunch of games by trying to constantly keep pressure on him. Let's just take it easy. Let's just chill. All is fine. He goes here. And I was wondering about this, like, why this? Because I guess I could just do this. If he takes right here, then we can just castle and, move on from there, I guess. And then we can continue on with, this bishop. We haven't even developed our light square bishop, by the way. It's pretty wild. And then when we do, he becomes very, very powerful. But I did not go for that. I decided to just go ahead and castle. And that's what he does. He castles. And then right here I realize, I'm thinking about, okay, what do we do next? What do we do next? I realized something here. Oh my gosh, I've let him set up a London system. But it's a different one. It's a bit of an awkward one. It's not exactly, you still got kind of the pyramid, but it's maybe even better to, potentially. I don't know. I'm a new guy to chess, so I don't know for sure. Because he may not have a pawn right here, but he's got a knight right here, and this again, it's got a strong outpost. And now, by the way, this is really no longer an option because now he can just replace that knight with this one. So that's no longer an option now. The two knights are working together. This is probably the biggest puzzle for me to solve right here. These two knights right here. That's probably the biggest problem that I have. How am I going to solve this problem? And I figured at this point in the game, if I can figure out that problem, I'm going to do pretty good in the rest of this game. That's all I got to figure out. So we started with, again, I'm just waiting for him to make some kind of bad move. I figured there's no major threat right now. The game doesn't like me doing this because I'm not pushing the initiative. You really always want to be the one pushing the initiative, but you always want to be careful too that you don't make a mistake while you're pushing the initiative. By the way, I also forgot to mention here, winning castles, I started thinking to myself, okay, how do we to convert all our pieces over to the king's side and see if we can just completely wreck his castle structure, like start with this. Right here, we can go back like that, and I don't know. Just kind of breaking it down. Oops, no, not that. That's a blundered bishop. If he does this, which we can go here. If he goes there, then we go here, and then ouch, and we can, I don't know, we can hit the bishop next or something like that. We can move our queen over, whatever, blah 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 blah. There's options there. I wonder, yeah, okay, so. Anyways, but those are some of the things I was thinking about. So I just thought, okay, the knight pair here is my biggest problem. That's what I got to solve. I'm going to start with just E8. The idea is because I'm thinking, maybe there's a potential to just break open the center here. Maybe there's a potential. Game doesn't like this, but I'll tell you what the game doesn't take into account is the human factor, human beings, and that human beings make mistakes. Let's see. I'm looking at okay. There's that. Okay, I'm not going to go into that. We're just going to go for this. And like I said, human beings make mistakes, and he starts with this. When he made this move, it kind of struck me. I was like, he doesn't really know what to do. He's waiting for me to make a move, and I thought, you know what? This might be a chance right here. I think he's weakened his castle structure right here. I just threw that pawn forward because I'm planning on going here, and then take that, and now I've got that knight pinned, and that's going to solve my knight pair problem. Because if I have this knight pinned, I can. This is going to be good for me. All I got to do is get this pawn out of the way. All right, so we start with this, and the game doesn't like this because it throws a pawn forward, and which pawns are supposed to be guarding my king in the castle. But I don't care. Especially what happens next, because I did not expect. I figured, wouldn't it be great if he just did this, just did a silly move like that, because then I could just fianchetto this, and then something like that. I don't know. And then just that would have been. I could have worked with that, and that's exactly what he did. He did that, and I fianchettoed that pawn. He takes back with his rook. And I thought to myself, man, is he so smart that he realizes this pawn's about to come under attack, and he just defended the pawn? I don't know, but you know what I just did? I went right here and I just attacked this. The idea was I'm going to let him take so that I can get my bishop right there. And that bishop now becomes really powerful. The reason why this bishop is really, really powerful, there's nothing that can touch this bishop. I mean, you go with the rook here, you take that, I just take it with the knight. And now that pawn falls, which has already fallen, by the way. So that was the idea, and that's exactly what happens. Don't you love when a plan comes together? It's just so satisfying. He attacks, he moves his rook back here, and I think he just wants to try to keep the rook active. But the fact is, the rook is not very active right here. The game gives him a hard time. There was no winning move for him here. Nothing here was going to work for him. What's going to work? The game says this, but I mean, I don't know. That, and now I'm taking this. Wonder why that's a mistake. Queen takes back right here. Now I'm totally losing. Very interesting. Kind of somewhat interesting. But we won't go too far into that. But if there's a winning move there, I mean, come on, us plebs aren't going to find that move. So he finds this right here. Now again, I stared at this position for a moment, for like hours actually, because these are daily games. I was like looking at this, I'm like, what's the move here? The move that I was thinking about was this one right here. No. Wait, it started with this. No, right. It started with this move right here. You take this pawn, and he attacks this. I did not expect this move. I wasn't thinking about that one, but I thought about this. I went, what if I did this? Attack the bishop, take that knight out first, and force this knight back. Now here's the line I was thinking about, and I'm glad I did not go through with this line. The idea was a discovered attack on the bishop right here. Now this is a blunder. The reason why it's a blunder because white sacrifices the rook in a brilliant move in order to win this bishop, and is, you know, winning this game. This is a hard game for black. Very, very hard game. So that was one idea, and I'm glad I didn't go through with that. But the idea was he takes right here. Oops. And the better option here is to actually go queen to d6. Brilliant move. You're attacking the hanging rook. This would force the rook off to the corner here, and now your knight gets in, attacking this bishop right here, while this is adding more pressure to it. If the knight, this I think is okay. So this is forced in order to block this bishop's pressure, but then there's just taking this. You give that up because you're surrendering that, because if takes, let's see here, yeah, then that's just completely game over right there. So you're sacrificing that knight, but if the queen comes out right there, another brilliant move from black right here. White's forced to take. You take right there, and this game is very, very dangerous for white. So that was the idea right here, behind potentially going right here after this. Where am I? Oh yeah, that was the idea behind this. That's what I wanted to do right there. That was some of the lines I was looking at. But I just thought to myself, you know, that could go badly in numerous different ways. I'm just not too sure about that. I'm glad I didn't go through with the whole thing. Again, if I found this line right here, after takes right here, you know, right here, if I found that, you know, like that would have been, this would have been a totally different game, obviously. But again, I'm a freaking 900. You think I'm going to find that move? No way. So what I went with is, after I'm looking through these options, I decided to go with when I'm playing chess, I'm thinking about, I need to make moves that are forcing moves. Forced moves are more predictable. They allow you to see farther ahead of what's going to happen, because you're making your opponent make a move that you know is coming, so that you can prepare for that move. And there you go. The forcing move for me was this, rook to e4. Rook to e4 forces the rook exchange. You cannot take this because you lose your rook, and you lost the game. Excuse me. Well, you haven't lost the game, but it's bad. It's very, very bad. So it's forced. So he takes this, and now I could take with the pawn here, but it's much more lucrative to get the knight in there. Now I got an outpost. I got an outposted knight. Also got a bishop that is utterly untouchable, and he's also pinning this knight, solving once again the knight pair. So now I got a pinned knight. He cannot support this knight right here. This knight's very vulnerable. So what we're going to do now with this knight move, by the way, this knight move is not only just an outpost, now it's attacking the valuable c3 square. I can go ahead and take that now. And I figured myself, after I take this, he's going to want to save his bishop, right? He's going to want to try and rescue his bishop. Not a good move here, but I figured if he wants to rescue his bishop, this is where he's going to bring it. It's out of range of the knight. But that's not going to really be a problem for me, because then I'm going to take right here. He can't take with this knight. He has to take with the pawn, and I'm going to take with this knight right here. Now that's going to force something like try to attack my queen. Now I can go for this, right? You know, this queen trade right here. That's going to completely win the game for me. There's also the option of, let's see here. There's the option of taking the queen first, then this, and then this. Same problem. And you also still have this knight pinned. I can, eventually go after this too, because the knight's pinned. Nothing can really defend it other than the king. You kind of have to go king right here to defend this knight. Of course, we can just add the pressure right there if we wanted to. And then we're also hitting that pawn. So that's an option for us. That's why I wanted to have this knight right here. I just sat here and I looked at this and I was like, what can he do? Like this, I can't think of a move for him to do. And I hate when I think that way, because then, like, gosh, Chase, that's when you always get caught. But he did this. Now, when he did this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, whoops. Nope. I'm thinking to myself, we can't take with the bishop right there, but, we get attacked, and we get a move right here, and then we just continue to get attacked. And, yeah, then we're still winning here. Game wants me to go ahead and give up the bishop so that we can go here. It allows me to give up the bishop so we can go there. That was an option right there. Still bad news for white. Everything is bad for white right now. Everything is just bad. So we could have taken with this, which would have led to this, this, and this. And we could have gone for the queen trades right here, hit the rook, and force that rook to move. And we could also, once again, that is an option, even though the rook would potentially take back. But so that's one option we could have gone with. And again, we're still winning in that move. I went with the move, which is ironic here, by the way, because I went with the move. I'm looking at all these different lines. These are all lines I looked at. I went with the move that I thought was going to be to sure win me the game. And it ironically turned out to be the worst of all the lines. And it also ironically turned out to be the one that won me the game. Bishop takes e2. Now, the game hates this move. There's a reason why. Because, oops, there's this right here. And this is a problem for me. The idea that I wanted was, I wanted him to, I was using the bishop to both take the knight. So the bishop, the knight pair is gone. The queen would take this, lure the queen out right here, and win the game. Just like this. That's the idea. But what I did know could happen, and I went with it anyway, was this. This could happen right there. And if I go ahead and take that queen, he takes my queen. And, the game is, in terms of material, is even, but black is back white's back in the game. If he goes there and we go here instead, he takes right here, and it's this is kind of forced, and then we take here, and the game is solidly even, but I'm also down material, and not good. This was probably gonna fall, and not good for us. But thankfully for me, the human thinking, the human mind, especially at these early stages, it tends to err. And he saw this, and I'm thinking he's thinking one of two things. Well, here's what I think he's thinking. I think he's thinking he just threw a bishop. Maybe he thought the bishop was being guarded by the knights, and oops, no, it wasn't. So okay, free bishop. Okay, fine. He just let me even out the game. After he took this, he realized, oh crap, that's what he wanted, to me to stop guarding the knights, and I stopped guarding the knights, and he resigned right here because he knew this was coming. You can't move your queen to defend that because you lose your queen and you get checked, and it's pretty much mate after that. At this point in the game, he just went, yeah, that's game over. I lost. So I was very happy with how this game turned out. My goodness, I couldn't believe he resigned. He resigned right here after he took that move, that piece. He resigned. I didn't think he was going to resign just yet. I thought he was going to try to see if he can still pull something off. I was like, I still got some work to do, but man, I was so happy with this win. I played my heart out. I am still, once again, 3-0 against the London system. See if we can keep that going. Anyways, guys, I hope this is a fun little review for you to see. It was certainly is something really fun for me to play and go through. I will talk to you all later. Bye.